Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to explain to the people at home what just happened because this is my no vote explanation, Mr. President. I do request my remarks be printed in the journal.
Without objection, so ordered.
It's kind of a technical gamesmanship that just happened. We just substituted language. So the language that came over from the House, if we were to pass it clean with no changes, it could be enrolled and sent straight to the governor's desk for a signature. Since we just substituted it with new language, it needs to go back to the House for a concurrence vote. And after we saw about, I don't know, roughly 20 hours ago or so, doesn't look like the House is going to be coming back anytime soon. A couple of things that could mean. It could be trying to get the House to come back, to take up other votes. That's one alternative. Another alternative is that it's just trying to kill this whole bill, which is a huge disappointment because this is $100 million that was allocated in the budget for public safety initiatives throughout our state, for all of our communities. Some are going to point to the city of Detroit. Yeah, the city of Detroit got a lot. I think they were actually capped, so other states other local units of government proportionally would have gotten more. So it's just a disappointment. I can't help to think there's some other political gamesmanship as to why, because the person who I commonly have heard has been associated with championing this legislation made an announcement recently that may have lost favor with my colleagues across the aisle. Not everybody, but some of them, enough to influence how this could possibly go. I didn't love exactly how this legislation was written. I have a lot of small town communities in my district. A lot of them were going to get, from what was estimated to me, anywhere from $4,000 to $11,000 for this grant. The grant was going to be distributed based on some type of proportion of the violent crime that was in that community. Well, I live near the city of Lowell. Let's just take them for example. Let's say they got $5,000. They don't really have a grant writer who they have on staff to try to get a $5,000 grant, so it would have been really burdensome. So I would have liked to have tried to work on, and maybe with the bill sponsor or the committee that it was in, to try to maybe have a streamlined process for smaller communities, maybe under a certain threshold, maybe under a population or a dollar amount threshold, where they could have just got a grant without really having to go through it, and they could have used it for certain purposes. That's something, even if I would have voted yes on this, knowing that it wasn't perfect and I could have worked on it next term. But it's just really disappointing because now we had something where we could have done something that would have really helped our communities and helped our communities safer. And now I'm going to have to be a no on it because the bill is effectively dead. So I'm just really disappointed. Kind of hope we can maybe reflect and maybe go back, and there's got to be a way where we can put the clean language back in. It'd be nice if we could do that, because this political gamesmanship is actually maybe making our communities less safe. So thank you, Mr. President. I urge a no vote. I do apologize. I genuinely forgot to mention one aspect of this bill as to why it's really killing it with the way that the budget was constructed. So if you go back, I believe the budget we passed this year was PA 121 of 2024. And in section 959, it's dealing with this. There was $100 million that was allocated for these specific funds we're discussing. And I'm not going to read the whole paragraph, but the last sentence here says, revenue appropriated under this section must not be spent or otherwise distributed unless both of the following bills of the 102nd legislature are enacted into law. A, House Bill 4605, and B, House Bill number 4606. That's a really important point because I've been in here long enough. I hear the spin and the confusion. If you can just get people confused, they've won. So if somebody says the money's still there, that argument is flawed, and it just won't work because the money is going to lapse, because this specific $100 million is tied specifically to this 102nd legislature. And while our fiscal year is on a different calendar, our calendar year, our term ends in a few days. and there's just nothing we can do. So if we don't get these two specific bill numbers done in this specific calendar year, the $100 million lapses, and there would have to be a new supplemental and a whole new process to get these funds out there. So basically, we're starting from square zero, and it's really frustrating. So I would appreciate a no vote on this. Thank you, Madam President.